Okay, there we go. Should be good. Let me double check. Yeah, okay. So I did mute myself before. Good. Now, I was gonna say now where were we? I remember we launched the rocket. And well, there's only one way to go now, which is this way. Which there doesn't seem to be anyone. Hello? Uh, okay, that can spin or you can stop it. I guess I'll stop it. Interact with any of these. Seems like a no. Do I want to do anything here? No. Do I maybe want to go out? Which out was back this way. I don't know if I do. I'm going to assume I do because I can go down there now. So I'm going to assume it's a yes. Now we crouch, sneak around here. Okay. Do I climb down there? I didn't mean to do that. It seems like it was a no. Seems like I don't... Did it not save me launching the rocket? Let me just double check and make sure it did. Yeah, this is a good way to see. So it did. I remember we did that. Also, come up here. Yeah, we did that. I remember music started playing. Why? I don't know. But it did. Um, hmm. I am very confuzzled. Don't do anything with them. Or them. Or that one. There's got to be something down here we can do. Or something somewhere. Oh. They didn't exactly tell me what to do now that I've launched the rocket. What if I go load game this one? Was this before the rocket? No. Okay, load game this one. Is this before the rocket? Also no. Load game. The last autosave. When was the last autosave? For that newest one. Okay, that was back over to here. Let's give this one a try. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. We've launched a rocket. What do you do after you launch a rocket? Yeah, you don't go over that way. There's nowhere to go. Do you go back that way? I mean, it's the only thing I can think to do. So I guess, yeah. Oh, I guess let's give it a try. The only thing I can think to do. Yeah, what happens if I go back this way? I mean, it seems to be working. Right, Moit. Hey, Bingo. How are you doing? All right. There's also the thing up there. Is this the right way? Ow. This is... don't know if this is where I came from. I don't think it is. I think I'm going the right way. At least I'm going to assume that I am. Yeah, I can have these things. Yeah. Now this one is new. I haven't seen this one before. Not bad. How are you? I'm doing pretty good. Haven't really been up to much today, but yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Now, is this... yeah, I'm not sure where I'm actually meant to be going. I'm just assuming that this is the right way. I mean, it's given me a new thing. A new chapter sort of thing. So, that has to mean I'm going the right way. I am so sorry, sir. I think I was meant to jump off. I have a little feeling that I maybe was meant to jump off. So, let me do that here. No! Stop! That went better than I thought it would. And... yeah, that's a decent fall. At least it's into water. But I think the thing kind of squished me, so... it didn't really matter in the end. Where's my thing? Reload. Can I grab the bullets? I can. Is coming down here a bad idea? Maybe. Okay, no, there is a door. Open the door. Okay, I'm gonna quickly go back for air. Okay, let's go again. Now I actually know where I'm doing. Or where I'm going. A little bit better. Okay, we can go up here, which brings us to this area. We can go... okay, that's where that thing was. A little bit of air. Okay. We can go through here. Which takes us... what? These things! They do attack you! I thought they didn't, but they do. I was right in the first place to attack them. Trying to hit them, that's another story. But they do some damage. Ow. I should get out of here. Okay, so yeah, that just takes you to there. So if you go back here. Don't want to go that way. That is not a good way. Okay, yeah, let's get out of here. So we don't really get much from going down there. Oh, you can't. And yeah, that doesn't do anything either. Yeah, leeches are fucking annoying. Yeah, I dealt with them one other time, but they weren't attacking me. So, are these explosives? I think they are. I probably shouldn't be hitting them. What? Oh. I guess I was meant to hit it. Ow. I think I got hit by a leech. I'm not honestly too sure. But yeah, I guess hitting it was the right thing. Okay, just a normal dude. Wait, quick second. There we go. All good. Now we can move on. Hey, buddy. Also, I figured, I think... as I was saying, I think I'm gonna be... well, I go away, like, next week. And I was getting a computer when I go back, but... the things that I was gonna get aren't in stock. So I think I might go through a bit more of the, Half-Life series when I get back. So I probably will go through... I'm trying to remember the name. Blue Shift, I think it was. And the other one. Can't completely remember the name of the other one. But yeah, I'm probably going to go through them when I get back. Yeah, I destroyed that. Where can we go from here? I mean, there's this. Oh, there's more water. I didn't mean to jump down, but I guess it works. Okay. What do we got down here? Leeches. My favorite. Oh no. This doesn't seem good. No, I won't go in here. In here was a bad idea. Also, my god, the leeches. I think I missed a spot where there was maybe air. Just a little guess by me. IA Blue Shift and opposing forces are fun. Yeah. I mean, I've heard good things about them, so... okay, so I can't break that. Also, my health's gone back up. What from? Wait, where did I come from? Oh, I think I came from down there. So I probably want to go up here. I'm assuming. Get out of the way, leech. Yeah, I think... I was gonna say, I think that sounds like a good plan. Because then I can at least get through all of the, Half-Life... I guess Half-Life 1 experience, it would be. Now, if I go down here... Where does this take me? Oh. 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 Actually, I was gonna say thank you, but... I didn't realize it took me down here with you, buddy. Look, we can talk about this. We can talk. You know, what do you want to talk about? You know, I'm sure you have feelings too. In this game, joining will take away health, but when you get air, oh, that's actually really good to have. Okay, I'm gonna, I guess, go all the way around here. Takes us up. Hey, Doctor. I did.
They said it was hauled from the Challenger Deep, but I'm positive that beast never swam in terrestrial waters until a week ago. There's a tranquilizer gun in the shark cage, but I'm not sure it would work on this species. You're welcome to try.
Okay. Well, I mean, whether it works or not, I don't know. But I mean, it's worth it to give it a try, is it not? Okay. 93 health, I'll take. Now. I was gonna say, how am I gonna get out of here, but, do I need to aim higher than where it actually is? I'm gonna quickly get out. Now, I guess, let's give this another try. Okay, we got it. Oh god, I'm out of bullets. I wasted all of my bullets. I think I need to retry. Where was my last save? It was right here. Okay, that's not too bad. Yeah, I'm guessing the person we saw fall in at the very start was the person there. The person in there. Yeah, I think I want to get closer to it. And make sure to aim up a little bit. You saw Greg? If this is Greg, then yes, I have indeed seen Greg. Also, how are you doing, Deads? Okay. Well, down we go. Hey, man. How's it going? I forgot how to get out of here. Oh, up the top. Right. Oh, no, I missed. Oh, no. I'm out. Can you use normal guns against it? I mean, I feel like Normal guns would... Oh. Or maybe they won't. Or is it just that one? Oh, it might also just be... It doesn't work. Oh, it's in the water. It just doesn't work in the water. Okay. Problem. Doing good. What about you? Got an exam in a couple of hours. I've noticed a lot of people have had exams recently. And I don't know. I guess it just must be exam time. That's Greg. I have met Greg then. Did I need to hit him with all the things from that with the crossbow thing? Because if so, that's a little annoying. I think I missed some, believe it or not. Do be the end of semester. Oh, so it's the end of semester for, I guess, a lot of places. Because here the semester started today. Where are you? Where did he go? Not sure how many hits it takes. I guess I'm going to assume that you need to shoot it with something other. But what do I do? I'm gonna ask him. Probably should have talked to him before. Also, I need to stop running into them. There's also something over there. Can I? Things I can't really. Yes, now I can shoot him. But yeah, if he doesn't come above, I can't really see him, which is the problem. I mean, my uni in specific starts a bit late. We start October while others start September. Yeah, here it's different. We have things called terms, and a term can be, well, the first term, say, could be 11 weeks, and then you have 2 weeks off, and then you have another term, which is maybe like 10 weeks, and then 2 weeks off. The third term will be maybe like 9 weeks, and then you have 2 weeks off, and then a term which is another 9 weeks. And then that's the school year done. And at the end of the year, after your 4th term, you get about 7 weeks off is what you normally get, but in the last like 3 years, like year 10, 11, and 12, you usually get like 10 to 12 weeks at the end of the year. Yeah. I don't know many other places that really do it the same. Because I think most places just do semesters instead of terms. Where are you, sir? Go. Yeah, also here, we don't really do many exams either. We tend to do more like assignments and stuff instead of semesters. I think the only thing we really did tests on was English. I mean, not English, math and... Yeah, math, really. Is I think the only thing we really did it in. In school we have terms? Oh, okay. So you do it in terms as well. Yeah, I guess we sort of have the semester things where it's like half the year, if it's not an essential thing like, you know, math or English, half of the year we have our selected subjects, and then the other half we have our other selected subjects, if that makes sense. Buddy, I really hope I'm doing this the right way, or I mean, I could just be wasting my time. Maybe I should quickly load up and try again. So let me put a save here real quick. And load up the other one. And see if me going down there and hitting all my shots correctly actually does anything. Oh no. I just need to make sure to hit all my shots. Ow. Can't choose your classes in school here. I mean, we can't specifically choose them, but we have electives. So you basically, at the end of the year, you choose your classes for next year. So you put like, you rank them from 1 to 12. They'll try to put you in your higher ones, but if there's a lot of people doing it, then you might get it like your second term, or you might not get something. But they try to give you your, at least your top 3. And, you know, and then the other ones if you can. I think you might have to use the crossbow. You can choose your profile. They can have different classes. Can't choose more than that. Huh. That sounds really weird. You'd think you'd be able to choose, like, sort of classes that you would want. Yeah, I'll use the tranquilizer, sir. I don't know why I did that. Okay, let's go back to this one. Yeah, I do have it. God damn it. I do have the weird thing where if you... I go into an area and it loads. It, sometimes if I'm holding, like, say W, it keeps me going forward, or the other way around. Yeah, let's give this a try. Come at me, sir. Oops. Come at me, sir. I am not afraid. Okay, 1. Maybe 2. 3. I missed. Okay, maybe I should better save before I go into the thing. God damn it. I don't know how I got through the first time without even getting hit. Probably because I wasn't speeding through, trying to get to here. Well, I mean, you know, I just want to get here and try and take down the, I guess, Greg. Okay, save. Now we jump down. Oh, hey, buddy. Okay, 1. 2. 3. That should have been 3 at least. 4. 5. I hit him with all 5. It didn't seem to do anything. Unless some of them didn't count as a hit. Sir? Where are you? Are these damaging him? Hoping they are. I'm gonna try this one. At least be somewhat more precise, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if those are damaging him. I guess I just need to assume that I didn't hit him all those times. Three, 4. Did the other one maybe not hit? I really don't know. I'm very confuzzled. Unless there's more ammo scattered around, maybe? One, 2, 3. Now that one didn't hit. Or that one. Yeah, maybe there's ammo scattered around. I'm not too sure. Ow. Ow. Let me know, sir. Okay, well, there's our first death that I can add. Oops. Did I have a death before this? No, I did have one death before it. Okay, now there's one. That one missed. I am confused with you, Greg. I'm thoroughly and utterly confused in what to do with you. Either I just never hit you the 5 times, or I need to somehow do something else. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Greg, I'm sorry, you should be dead. I don't know what else to tell you. So we have hit him the 5 times. What are these noises? I'm gonna go talk to the doctor. Hey, doctor.
Glad to oblige a fellow scientist.
Doctor, we have a problem.
Right here.
Doctor, we have a problem. It didn't work. I shot him, but it didn't work, doctor. I was gonna play. No, not load save. Save game here, because at least I know I hit all of those ones. I guess I just need to shoot him. Because there's not a lot else I can really do. This water is very slippery. I know why Greg's not dying, to be honest. Yeah, I feel like he should be dead. I hit him with all the things they gave me. Greg! I guess we'll just have to dwindle Greg down bit by bit. Okay, I'm gonna turn my sensitivity up so I can get over to him a bit faster. Greg. Greg. Is it hurt? It is hurting him. Okay, at least I know it's hurting him. I feel like I'm in an episode of Jaws. Well, not really an episode. It's a movie. But, you know what I mean. Could I get sucked up? Okay, he's dead. I was gonna say, could I get sucked up by that thing and then try and get over onto the land there? Okay, he's dead. Good. Now, from here... Okay, I'm guessing I want to break this. Oh no, turn this. I'm gonna have to get some air though. Okay, there we go. Go, go, go. And I saw it drop, so I'm gonna put it all the way up, or at least as high as I can. If you can't kill him, I'll tell you how to break S, but I don't want to spoil. Okay, all good. We got him in the end. I'm gonna assume because it's on. I'm gonna assume I had to do that because it's on hard. If it's not, I don't know. Maybe I just got a bit of a glitchy Greg. One of the two. Oh, it's doing the thing where it holds W when I go in. Nope, now it's all good. That's a lot of dangly. Okay, We can talk. We can talk about this. Oh, there's one over there too. There we go. I did not expect there to be the things here already. Yeah, I think it will be all good. My ammo. I will take. Reload, and there we go. Can pick up the ammo. You know, they surprisingly keep a lot of ammo around this place. Which, I mean, I'm not going to complain. Which I'm not going to complain about. Just a little bit. Oh, no. Oh, God. What was that? I don't know what that was. Whatever it was, I don't think I like. Okay, seems like I have to go for this jump. Or something there. And now, you know, I'm gonna keep this in my hand actually. Okay. Oh, it's you. I didn't mean to pull this out. Why did this get pulled? Oh, probably because I had it in my thing before. Okay. We're good. Oh, there's another one. Ow, that hurt. Is it worth it going over this way? Do I really get anything? Can I break these? Can't really break these. Wait. Oh, that's... I was wondering where I sent it. It's because this is the box. Okay, now we do that. Push the box over to here. Come on. Can I not get on this box? Yeah, wait, give me a minute. Give me a second. There we go. Okay. I'm up. What do we got up here? Health. I don't like. I don't know if it was worth it fighting two of those things for this. Is this the way I'm meant to be going? Okay. You know what? I have terrible aim. Oh, I probably should turn my sensitivity back down. That would probably help. Hello, doctor. Okay, good to know that there... Is it worth it going that way? That's the big old question. Also, I need to change my sensitivity down. Okay, let's turn it down max on my mouse. And then options, mouse, turn it down to 0. Oh no. Okay, resume. We'll get there. Also, I should probably start my timer. Let's see. Over here, over the clock. Timer. I'll do 5 minutes 30. Why not? Okay, let's get going. I'll get him. Don't worry. I'll get him. Any second now, we'll be there. Trust me. They're going down. We'll go with this one. It worked before. Okay. Now we just gotta... No, run. We'll get him. Trust. Trust. Believe. Also, sorry if you can hear me hitting my mouse. It's kind of... You know, okay, it's doing the thing where it's holding one way. Get him. Okay, that didn't quite work. Okay. I think what we should maybe try doing is just run. Because I'm already facing the right way for this area. Or maybe I wasn't. Okay. Oh god, I'm not facing the right way. We'll get there. We'll get it. Head crab, please. Please, head crab. Please, just leave me. Oh god. Oh no. Ah. I'm dead. It's fine. At least I'm getting a workout. Not a good one, but a one. Seems gone as a stiff neck. Yeah, I think I don't know what he's been doing, but I think he should really work on just like at least turning his neck a little bit like that. Most cursed redeem I've seen on a stream. I mean, it makes things interesting because yeah, I figured high sensitivity, that won't be too bad. So I figured since I have high sensitivity, I might as well add a low one, right? Yeah, I think it also depends on the game you're playing. Because sometimes the low sensitivity, it's okay. Sometimes it's like this though. It would be funny to do low to high. Oh no. It would take me... I would not even be able to get used to that one. Yes. Yes, you missed your first... You missed your first shot, crab, and now it's over. I guess the question is, do you also have enough points? I feel like it also wouldn't be too bad if I wasn't a one hit from the laser things. But hey, at least we're getting used to doing this. At least we're getting used to this one. Doing the thing where I hold the button. Let's reload. I will eventually. I guess that is true. You will eventually be able to afford it. My question is, can you afford one right after the other? No. Damn it. Oh, I need to add like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 deaths. 7. I'll just do 7. I'm forgetting to add them. I'll do one more because I think I died at the start. So there's like 8 deaths. Whether I have more or less, I don't know. But I'm starting to think my worst enemy might actually be the head crab in here. And not the laser thing. Come at me, crab. I dare you. No, no, please. We got him. Now we just got to get the other 2 things in here. I'm doing it. I knew it. Oh god. Oh no. Ow. How? Now, are you out, sir? You are.
Gordon Freeman, it is you, isn't it?
It is.
Who has been tracking your progress Unfortunately, so is the military. That suit of yours is full of tracking devices. Still, it's better than going naked in this place. It's cold
Mm-hmm.
in there, and you'll have to hurry. It could sap your suit power in a matter of moments. If you're bent on reaching the Lambda complex, then you'll want to keep to the older industrial areas where the security system is full of holes. It's worked for me, so far.
Okay. Well, first things first, I can mouse, put that back to like 7.7, that's fine. That will do. So this is the way I was meant. Oh god, it feels weird going just to not my normal, like my normal-ish sensitivity. I forgot that thing was here. So this was the right way to go. So, does that mean if I go down here? Uh, Load. Wait. No. Load the most recent. So if that's the right way to go, then what is over this way? What's up here if that was the right way to go then? Extra stuff? Extra goodies for me? Okay, give me crowbar. Ammo. Health. Oh, it was back. Wait, it was back here. Through there. Wait, so I jumped. Oh, it's just a giant loop. I press Q, you can shuffle between. Oh. That's good to know. Thank you for letting me know, Deads. Huh. So that just... Huh. So that's if you were to jump over it, and that's if you were to go, and then that... The way I took was under it. I see. Well, at least I got a little bit of HP, so... I will take. Oops. I hit the thing. What is that? You. Huh? Yeah, they're just bombs. Hmm. I can also right-click shotgun to shoot 2 rounds at once. Yeah, I started doing that before. Before with the shooter things. Oh no. No, leave me alone. Okay, it's still down there. I'm gonna leave it down there. I think that sounds like a good idea. It shoots right away? That doesn't seem fair. I thought I'd have time to turn around and shoot it, but apparently not. Also, I think I'd rather have 36 HP. Hopefully 36 HP than 4. Which is what I was gonna go through with before. He seemed to just leave me alone. I mean, I'll take it. Head grab. I hate you. Okay, I think we're all good. Okay, let's save. And I guess go through here. Also, I need to add... Do I need to add... No. I don't need to add another death.
That suit of yours is full of tracking devices. Still, it's better than going naked in this place. It's cold in there, and you'll have to hurry. It could sap sap your suit power in a matter of moments. If
I
you're
thought I heard an
planning on
enemy.
using the Lambda complex, then you'll want to keep to the older industrial areas where the security system is full of holes. It's worked for me so far.
Okay. Well, let's go through, sir.
You look terrible. Hold still.
Yes.
It won't hurt a bit.
Stab me with a goop. Thank you for the goop. Okay. Doctor, why did you follow me in here? This probably wasn't your smartest idea, Doctor. I'm gonna be honest. Also, I think I got something in my eye. What does that do? That opens it back up. Okay. Well, I need to run. Because I am a little bit cold. Oh, I thought it was dead. Ow, that probably wasn't the best idea. I was gonna try. Oh, yeah, I can hear these boxes. Oh, yes. Oh, health. How did they hit me? How did you guys hit me? Okay, I think my great strategy for this is, sir.
The science team has been yes, it appears that you need medical attention
Thank you.
right away. Why don't try this?
Thank you, sir. You don't want to come. You don't want to come through here. Trust me. Trust me. This is going to work better. I'm going through with more health than I did before. I'm not. I lied. I couldn't even get through the thing. Also, there's 2 more deaths.
Gordon Freeman, it is you, isn't it? The science team has been let me take care of that wound for you.
Thank you. Again, don't follow me. I have a flawless strategy. This time I'm actually gonna deal with some of the enemies. Because maybe, you know, dealing with enemies that are trying to kill me would actually be a good idea. I mean, I'm still gonna try and go through fast. But it'll take my time a little bit. And it worked. There you go. Slow, well, not slow, but still somewhat cautious is the way to go. What is it? Okay, we're all good now. Oh god. Okay, I should probably switch to this. No, stay back. Don't come closer. I knew there was another one. Ow. Also, it shot its lasers almost straight away. I don't like how they can do that. Okay. Can't open that. I don't think we can smash the barrels, but we can still smash some of these. Yes, health. Nothing. Health. Ammo. I'm also gonna give myself a save point here. Just to be safe.
Freeman, right? I've got a message for you. Make sure you don't.
Huh? What happened? I wasn't paying attention. What happened to him? He was telling me something and then he died. Okay, don't something. I'll keep that in mind. What the fuck are they? What are you? Rip Barney? Oh, is that is that his name?
Right? I've got a message for you. Make sure you don't.
Okay, so I can't shoot them before they get to Barney. So that's what happened to Barney. Why didn't they attack me while they had the chance? What are you meant to do with these, though? Like... they go invisible for a second. How am I meant to kill them if I can't see them unless I hide in a corner like this? Hello? Am I good? I think I'm okay. I'm gonna grab some health. Give them health. I'm gonna do my best. What my best is, I don't know. Also, to get myself a death for that. Oh, I got some harpoon things. Yeah, did I give him my, did I do a death when I spawned back? I can't remember. But also, there was another one of those harpoon things that I could have grabbed on the ground at one point. I just didn't know it was ammo. Anyway, I'm gonna... there's gonna be people in these. We're good. I'm also gonna give myself a save. I've learnt the hard way. And more explosives. Also, is that a Pepe Doctor? I think it is. And a Pepe Gordon. Okay, over. I don't like this. What are they? That one was luck, I'm gonna be honest. Now I know there was, I swear there was one more. Women? Aha, that explains why I don't know don't know how they're jumping around like that. And it is a Pepe scientist, I see. And another scientist. Okay, well I'm gonna turn the... is it already what? It is already open, so I don't know why I'd want to close it. I'm gonna give myself another save again because I don't want to have to deal with them again. You are right, they are women. With... why are they in black suits? I guess they're the suits that make it like, I guess, let them go invisible. I have to, oh, I have to hold E. But I do also want to quickly check what's down here. Where they came from. Ammo. Health. No, I don't want to hold a bomb. Technically do that, and then that, and now switching between them should be like that. Okay, more harpoon bolts. By the way, they're invisible only on hard. Oh, that's why they're invisible. I see. I feel like that makes it more fair. That it's, at least it's only on hard. Okay, we'll save game. And let's go jump up there. Okay, open up the door. And there we go. What did that actually change? My flashlight does nothing.
I see it.
I'm assuming that was meant to happen. Because there was nothing I could do.
Where are we taking this Freeman guy? Topside for questioning. What the hell for? We got him. Let's kill him now. And if they find the body? Body? What body?
What's on my eye? I can't get rid of it. We can talk about this. My flashlight still does nothing. I have nothing on me. Yeah, I mean, with my body, they could get rid of my body quite easily. Uh-oh. Why have we got an uh-oh? Please don't tell me I'm meant to be on there. I think you both... I mean, I didn't do anything. Okay, just go to my last save. It's fine. It's fine. I can just go from here again. There we go. Opened. Now all we gotta do is just walk in here. Uh-oh. And just go through the dialogue again, we'll be all good.
Where are we taking this Freeman guy? Topside for questioning. What the hell for? We got him. Let's kill him now. And if they find the body? Body? What body?
Please don't be bugged. Also, hey Unicorn, how are you going? Welcome to the stream. Yes, how have you... Yes! Wait, huh? Where am I? Also, I can't break that thingy. Oops. I don't know what happened. It's a known glitch, but I'm not sure how it happened to you. Me tied you. That's fair. I mean, also that. Oh, that's that. This is how they're going to get rid of my body. I see. Here's my crowbar. You shouldn't leave a man with his crowbar. You never know where he'll get up. What he'll get up to. Yeah, isn't it quite early slash I guess late slash early for Unicorn? So do people do the glitch on purpose then sometimes? Maybe? Regular. Nothing to do with the boxes. Okay. So I've lost all my ammo. Damn. Oh no. There's a doctor. I think they're a little dead. Okay, I can turn this. No, you don't want the glitch to happen? Okay. I mean, it seems like it can happen to anyone then if... Oh, that's a platform, not a thing. Yeah, have you started, doing the DLCs yet, Unicorn? Yeah, there we go. Now we'll go down this one. I'm pretty sure they're both probably the same. $120 deaths. Yeah, we've had a few. We've had a few. I'm gonna be honest. I think half of those are me dying to the environment. But let's not worry. Let's not talk about that. Let's not worry. Yeah, I think it's not that it's necessarily hard. It's just I've been dumb. No? Okay, so when are you planning to do that? I'm guessing I still want to do this. Now, did I want to get up here faster? Or... Can I turn the thingy again? Let me see. So if I turn it, it does go back up. Okay. So I'm just gonna have to go with some speed. Today? Okay. I don't know if I'll be able to pop by today because I got work for the next four days, I think it is. Okay, go, 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 go. Okay, we made it. I'm pretty sure it's this side that I want to get in. Yeah, it is. Okay. Oh, it's this way. It's cool. Yeah. If I can try and pop around. Probably. I don't know if I'll be able to do it while I'm away because we'll probably be doing stuff, so I'll probably be tired. But I can probably do it when we get back. Hopefully, I won't have too much work when I get back. Hopefully. I mean, hopefully yes and no. Not as many days. Oh, I'm gonna jump down here. Hey, sir. Okay, I don't know if I want to go in there. I think I might have to go through there. You on holiday again? Yeah, because that one I went up... that time earlier I went up, or a few weeks ago, I went to see family. And then this one I'm going to see Lucas for his 18th, so a friend. So, yeah. But then after that, I don't really have any holidays planned for the next... Oh, no. Which I don't normally go on holidays that often, to be fair. Apart from, like... I guess Christmas, it wasn't as much of a holiday. It's more we had people come over here. But I mean, same thing. No, so I did want to go that way. So I'll get extra health. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna go this way. I'm just gonna have to sneak by the thingies. Which, let me save. So I can figure out how to actually sneak by them. Can I hit their tongues? I can't hit their tongues. I can hit them like that though. Okay, some health. Have you had much? Have you started applying for jobs again, Unicorn, or not yet? Okay. This just is another way into here. And then loop around into here. And then you can also go down steps. Which I'll take HEV. Stop. Oh, there's two of them. Okay, so this one is the... That one's locked. You have? Okay. Well, hopefully you hear something soon. Was you TikTok from this game? The most recent one, it was from this game, yeah. Okay, well, seems like going this way isn't going to help me at all. Both of those doors are locked. Being up here doesn't really get me anything, so let's go back this way. Oh, stop. Okay, 71 health. That's a lot better than what it was before. Yep. Okay. Damn it. Okay, let's go through. Damn it, I'm taking radiation damage. Oh! Oh no, okay, don't get crushed. That's good. Okay, walk along here. Jump across. I'm gonna assume those noises weren't from me. Oh no, that just thing just broke. Whether it was already broken before, I don't know, but... Okay. There we go. I think I'm getting through this okay. As long as no things appear in here. Okay, wait. Wait. I gotta check the boxes. Health and ammo. I mean, I can't use the ammo yet, but when I do need ammo, at least I'll have some ammo and explosives. So there are no explosives I can use yet. Okay. It's okay to go here. Yeah, if I had too much... If I had too much speed there, that wouldn't have been good. Okay, can't open that side. What about this side? I also can't open. Okay, well, I guess there's only one way to go. Have you seen this game before, Unicorn, as well? Because it's a decently popular game. I think it's only on Steam. It might be on other platforms. I'm not too sure. Because it's a Valve game, so that's why I'm not too sure. No, you haven't. Okay. Well, would you like me to explain the story, the story to you so far? I'll put my cup over here. Which, if I'm going to be honest, I don't understand the story 100% myself. Do I want to go through there? Huh. It was just another way through here. Intriguing. Okay, let's go. Under that. Oh god. Okay. Little patch here I can get out of. But so far, is Leslie in this game? Leslie is not in this game, no. Wouldn't be surprised if he found his way in somehow with the story of that game. But yeah, this one, we were doing some experiments. An experiment went wrong, and some monsters have come into the facility because there was something with portals or dimensions or something. So monsters have come in here. So there's monsters all over the place, and we're basically just trying to escape. Is basically the story. Hey Dopey, how's it going? What's this? Hey Majora, how are you going? I'm just playing through Half-Life, which I just explained the story, and I think you would have been here to hear it. I'm hoping. Oops, why am I using the health when I don't need it? Sounds like Leslie honestly, he could be the mastermind and I wouldn't even know. Yeah, no, I think this is... I don't know which way is the right way in this game sometimes. I don't want to go the right way. Oh, this just takes me back to here. Okay. Well, I guess let's continue on. Can I get air? Nope. Here's air. Okay. I don't know if I want to go through there. I also don't have a weapon. I was gonna say I don't have a weapon yet, but I do. I got the revolver back. He's dead. I'll grab some of them. Grab some of these. I won't actually grab the health yet. Actually, no, I'm gonna be continuing on, so I probably should. And this just brings me back to there. Okay. Pressing these turns that off. Okay, good, good. Take a little bit of health. And can't smash the bin. But how have you been... Oh, it doesn't stop it for too long. But how have you been, Majora? Which thingy you plan to go through first, Unicorn? Which of the, I guess, DLCs? Personally, I'm not exactly the best right now. My sister's B-Day was 2 days ago. And her death day was today. Oh, I see. Well, that's not good. Well, I hope things get better. Wait. Please, please, please. I'm sorry. I'm also sorry to hear that. I've got to go now. Bye. Take care, guys. Okay. Well, thank you for popping by, Bingo. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, night, or whatever time it is for you. Kidman. Ban me. I know ban. Why you think me want ban? Oops. Why can I not move? Oh no. Okay, I got myself stuck. That's all. Okay, all those are going the right way now. Good. So that's what I was doing wrong. That was all. Pause it. Now, right, this one. There we go. Actually, I should have grabbed some of the health while I could. Damn it. It's fine. I still have 90 health, so... Anything down here? Nope. Okay. Okay. These... Okay, I'm gonna have to learn how they do the squamshing. Okay, so this one's just up and down. This one goes boom, boom, boom. Okay, all good. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh no! Majora. Damn it. Where was my last save? Okay, it was right here. That's okay then. Oh no. Go. Go. Also, I'll add 3 deaths because I think I've had a few deaths, but I haven't included them. Go. Go. Go! Yes! I guess, yeah, that's not where I want to go. This is... Okay, this is just the... They're not exactly where I want to go, but... They're ways... They're ways down. Go. Go. Wait for this to finish and go. Okay. That one. I guess I'll go under this. And then into here. Do I want to jump down there? Ow, 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 ow. Okay, I didn't. Good. Then down to here. And then I guess on... Okay, not that way. Definitely this way. I'm actually gonna quickly get myself a save point right here. Is what's actually down here? I guess I could use a light. Okay, can we get onto here? Locked. Nothing good. Yeah, looking forward to doing the DLCs, Unicorn. Wait, didn't this just take me back up to the... That just took me back up to the top. Okay, load game. The most recent. Okay, can I open this one? Okay, nope, I can't. Okay, there we go. I'm down. And I only lost 2 HP during that. Me scared? Oh, you're scared to do the DLC? Come at me. Ow. Okay, I don't have my... Well, I do have my gun. Just I don't have any ammo for it. At least I think I still have the gun. I'm assuming I do. Okay, nothing back here. I'll give myself another save. Because, I mean, 86... I feel like that's pretty good health. Okay, well that doesn't open, so that means there's only one way to go. Through here. There's nothing there. Nothing over here. There is that way. There's also this way. Which is nothing. Well then, let's go through here and... Come at me. Come this way. I dare you. Ow. Okay, I'm just gonna... I'll get on a last save. I was too close to that. Okay, see, I got nothing from going through that way. So, we'll go here. I'll be like, oh no. Boom. Yes. And back up to 100 health. It's been so long since I've had 100 health. I guess, yeah, I feel like it hasn't been that long. But it's definitely been a while. Oh, that just takes me back up to here. Huh. Well, where am I actually trying to go then? I think that's my question. 'Cause I'm pretty sure I've been to this one before. Okay, well, save game. What if I go back this way? Where does this take me? Yeah, it just takes me straight back to here. Now, question is, well, how do I do this one? Any of these doors open? Nah. Can I set this off and like, or like run straight through it maybe? Okay. Load my last save. I'm gonna go for it. So quickly run through here. Run through. Actually, no. We're gonna go back this way. We're gonna see what secrets you're hiding. Come on. Go. Go. Oh, is this the same as that one? Huh. So this one just ends right there. Yeah, that doesn't quite work. As I thought. So what can I do? Oh, so we got this time, these kitties are okay. Kitties in a present box, they're okay. Kitties in a sandwich, they're the ones that scare me a little bit more. Go, 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 go! Okay, I'm just gonna load my last save again. Gotta be something I'm not seeing. I'll go back down. Is there anything through here? Like there's not a lot. Yeah, this just doesn't open. Stairs. And then stairs. Right. Yeah, the stairs. They are through this way. But then you don't get anything for going up the stairs. They don't take you anywhere. The only thing. Hey, Dads, quick question. Are you still here? Are you scared? I am a little bit. I don't know what to expect or where I'm meant to be going. So I am a little bit worried and scared. Was reading the last thing for exam. Just come back. Okay, all good. Do you have any idea? Why not? I know you would have an idea. Any hints as to where I might have to go? Because I've walked all around this place and walked along the ground and the other things, and the only way I can think to go is down here. But I don't exactly want to go down here. Oh, that is it. How does one get through there, though, without exploding? I'm gonna put a save here. Because, I mean, I can't go fast enough. I can't exactly just hit it. Does it may? Oh, actually, maybe I don't want to waste it. But I guess it's not really a waste if it allows me to progress. Quick explode the boom before urine, but yeah. Yeah, I guess it wasn't a waste. I just tend to try and save my explosives and everything I have. But I mean, if I need it, then you know, not really a waste. Yep, quick crouch. And oh, great. I'm guessing there's a lot of head crabs coming down here. Hmm. Seems like I did a good jump. Oh, we're into a new area. Question. Huh, 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 huh. Let me go. Do they still hurt me up here? They do. Noted. Well, there's a death. And also another death from before. Me go to sleep? Okay. But yeah, thank you for popping by, Unicorn, and yeah, next time you're streaming and I'm up, I'll make sure to pop by. But yeah, and I wish you luck with your job search as well. Ow. Ow. Okay. Was I maybe meant to have one of those bombs left over? Because I kind of used it. They're still hitting me even when I'm down there. Huh. I think I'm gonna get quite a few deaths here. If I can take them out, at least, and then get my health... No, I was gonna say take them out, and then I can reload and figure out where I actually need to go after they're dead, but... Okay, can't open the door there or anything. Oh, do I need... I think I know what I gotta do. Kill me! Thank you. Okay, I think I see where I gotta go. So I think... How I'm gonna do it with much health, I don't know. But... it seems like... Okay, don't touch them at all. I can get through here with at least like 20 something health, I'll be happy. Okay, so I'm gonna have to jump up on this side. And then jump up again. I didn't mean to fall into here, but... I think I gotta jump onto here, and then here, and... over. Okay. Yeah, there we go. I'm happy. 45 health, I'll take it. Let me. Hey, buddy. How is your day going? Great. Why did I do that? Can you possibly blast down this door? He can't. Well, he can. Well, I think he didn't want to. Plus, I don't know if he can. Ow. Okay, maybe I'll set myself a save after I get through these things. Don't know why I didn't. I'm gonna be honest. Okay. And hey, more health than I did before. I will take. Okay, save game, save. Now let's see. Buttons. Can't be pressed. Door. Can't be opened. Hmm. 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 So we were experimenting on these things, and now they finally get to get out and escape. Well, so why did you not get out and escape before now, sir? You obviously could have. Why did you wait for me to get here? That is my big question. Why wait for me when you could just not? Oh, I had to break the glass and hit the big red button. I mean, I was trying to hit the big red button, but it didn't work. It turns out you had to break the glass. Why is this like a head crab petting zoo? This would this is just not a, I mean, apart from all those other things, why would this have been a good idea? Make your life harder? I guess so. That would make sense. I guess he knew I was coming. He figured he'd be nice and wait for me. Uh. What is... You know, I don't know if I feel bad. I don't know if I feel bad. What am I meant to do? I have a damn crowbar. Found out what I'm meant to do with a damn crowbar. Kill him. It's that simple. But yeah, he had a gun. I had a crowbar. Apparently, crowbar better than a gun.
Hey, it's no good up there. It's all sealed off. The only way out would be to find someone with scanner access who can open the front door. I'm pretty sure there's a few scientists hiding somewhere in the labs. Maybe with both of us looking, we can track them down and get them to let us out.
I don't trust you. That dude was sitting there at the door for me. Wouldn't he have had to go through you to get to the... I don't know. I don't know if I trust you, sir. I know if I trust you. Also has the weird thing. Like... Stop. Okay. We're good now. Ba-doo! That wasn't far enough. Ba-doo! Now I'm gonna grab this. Oh no. Go, Recon! Recon! Got the shotgun. Back. Stay back. What are you... Someone's shooting me. Aww. I'm not going to press the button. I feel like that button is going to let them out. What is that thing at the back? Oh, that's headcrabs eating something. And there's a crossbow in there. Is the crossbow worth it? Okay, idea. Hopefully it lets me do it again. Button. Button. Is gonna kill them. At least some of them. No. Okay, I'm gonna wait for him to get into the room then. And then I'll press the button again. Hey, look at me, guys. Jesus Christ! Okay, this should kill at least some of them. Plus, I get the crossbow. Yeah, that got a few of them. And now I'm gonna do this. Quick. Close it. Be through. Okay. There's one behind me. How many are there? Hey, sir. Don't mind me. And that one had the loading thing that ran me forwards. Me not like it. Oh, he just... I honestly don't feel bad. I just watch everything that's going on. Great. My controls are inverted, but it's great. Okay, load game. My most recent one was actually right here. Okay. I'm gonna have to get this out. He thinks he can see me. Ow. How many shots have I got with the cross? Okay, 5. It doesn't seem to do that much damage. Oh, I have a scope. Look, we can talk about this. Okay. Okay. Ow. I'm running. Wait, where's this? Oh, this is back up in this place. I didn't notice there was ammo here. Right, I gotta go get a doctor. That's what I was up to. That's what I was doing. Thank you, sir. You helped me. Okay, so I can't get through the bottom area there. Noted. Don't know if I ran up here, or did I? Actually, yeah, I did, because this is the long way around. That's the area with the head crabs in there. So, I gotta head back down here. Well, the head crabs are dead. Okay. I agree. Let's go. So I'm gonna deal with the head crabs real quick. Ow. I'm gonna have to reload. I just want to see, what are they doing in here? What is that actually? What? What is... Go, bug! Go, bug! Go! Go, buggies! Hey, Pookie, how are you? You know, I kind of like it. I kind of like it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna grab him again. What are you doing in here? Leave me alone. Buggies? Yeah, I thought... What was that? Yeah, I thought these were like... Well, I don't know what I thought this was, but... I now have bugs. 1 HP. I do have 1 HP, but I've taken down one of those dudes. Plus we have bugs. Go, buddies. Go. Look at him go. Problem is, they can come back at me. And I kind of feel the fury of bugs myself. But, I mean, I personally think it's worth it. Go for the dude at the door. There's a dude at the door. Go for him, not me. Yeah, go for him. Go for it. Or it could not. Okay. Buggies. We got this. Maybe I should do it one bug at a time. Go, bug! I don't understand their AI sometimes, I'm gonna be honest. But how have you been, Pookin? How was your exam or test that you had? How did that go? Ow. Okay. Well, there's like, I would say 3 deaths. I don't know if Buggy's worth it. I don't know when Buggies would be good. Because Buggies attack me, which is a bit of a problem. Okay, I'm gonna get the crossbow out. I got his shoulder. God damn it. God! They were good. They weren't that hard. I go back to school on Tuesday though. Okay, at least they weren't too hard, which is good. So does that mean you had a few days off then? Ugh. Yeah, go for him. Go for him. Yes! I'll open the door for you. There you go. Follow him out there. Good head crab. Good head crab. Now I just sit here and wait. Did it work? Are they going? Did they get him? I mean, he's running, so it seems to be doing a good job. Yeah, they seem to have done a good job. All of them came over this way. So that's usually a good sign. Surely there's a scientist here somewhere. Something tells me they don't want me going through that door. Yes, I've had like a week off. Okay, that's good then. So they give you a week off because of exams, or is it because, or I guess for what reason? They've given me these. You save. Game doesn't give me many saves. It's not many saves that often. Anything I want to do up here? No? Okay. Yes, it's exam break. Okay. Yeah, we don't really get many things like that, because... Well, we don't really get that many exams in the first place at, or up here, we don't. We tend to just do more assignments instead of exams and stuff. I guess in year 12 we have exams. But, yeah. Ow. What? Who blew it up? Oh, did they get him? Oh. Give me a quick second. If they killed him, I might just quickly... There we go. Okay, now I just sit up here and watch. Unless his thing somehow can hit me up here. Okay, they won. Actually, no, there's not. There's another one. What I was gonna say. Yeah. Ba-dunk. There we go. Okay. Run! Run away! And watch again. It's time to look out for bombs being. Oh no. Oh god. Please. Hey, buddy! Let's try it again. This time, I'm not gonna stand at the window. They're not gonna see me. Trust me. They won't even know that I'm here. I hear no fighting. Oh no. These noises don't seem good. Guessing they're dead because he started attacking me. I'm going to save because I don't know how I got through that with only taking 1 damage. Jesus Christ! What was... Ah! There was someone there. I'll take your gun. Thank you for everything. Okay, now save again. Now, explosives. Always good to have them around. Yeah, apart from exams, have you been up to much, Pookie? I guess up to much during your bit of holidays that you had? I'm not gonna deal with that. I'm gonna leave that be. Actually, anything here though? Health. And an explosive. I guess I should have expected. I forgot you were there. Okay. Less health than I did before, but it's fine. Fine. Nothing to worry about. I'm gonna quickly actually save. And what happens if I break the box? Okay, so that does explode because I broke the box, but I think I got somewhat in the way. Oh, and bullets. I'm okay with that. I'm saving a lot, but this game has taught me to. Of course. Of course. Oh, and this brings me back to here. Okay, so yeah, we gotta go get a scientist. Which I'm assuming should be up here. Actually, no, I'm not gonna fight that thing. Let them fight. Because at least then they're fighting each other, and that means there's whoever wins, there's less of me to deal with. Or less for me to deal with. Okay, stuff in here. Button. Can't turn the button off. Go in here. Button. Button! Come on, button! Okay, the button doesn't do anything. Okay. Quick, in here. Another laser button. We're playing, Warhammer Vermintide. Okay, yeah, you were playing that, earlier as well, weren't you, Pookie? Or before the exams, I think. Save game. Have a little more HP pin now. Okay. You. They actually did quite a bit of damage, I'm gonna be honest. Like these things and the soldiers. Sounds like there's still soldiers though. Oh, so you want to turn all those things on, I see. I'm guessing... Guessing there's one in here then. Down. Come at me. I dare you. Wherever they are. I don't like how this music is kicked in. What did I just challenge? What did I just challenge? So this one comes here. So yeah, both of them are going along here. One's coming from there. No, this one's going that way, isn't it? Yeah. So what have I done? Where are things going to? I'm not too sure. Oh wait, maybe here. Yeah, okay, there we go. Now I can probably press this button. I can. Do not obstruct laser shield. You saying I shouldn't get in the way? Oh, so I need to find something to stop that from coming down. Like maybe a box? Perhaps? Yes. Yes! But I don't think I've ever actually asked, have you played through Half-Life, Pookie? I like puzzles when it's like this, because I can actually, you know, think. Okay, I'm gonna quickly save. Because I don't want to go down and take a lot of damage. And there we go, okay. Epic music has now ended. Or dramatic music. Okay. Hey!
Thank God. Get us out of here before the military drones figure out where we're hiding.
Will do. I'm also going to need your help to help me get out of here. And help you.
All have retinal scanner access. Escort us to the lobby, and we can get out of the lab. We'll have to shut down the surgical unit first. Peter switched it on, but I'm afraid he'll never make it.
Okay. There you go. Oh, actually, it's right in the middle. Let me just... Okay, that's probably the most out of the way you're going to get it.
With my brains and your brawn,
Am I taking all of you? Guys, also don't run into the thing.
I refuse to go another step.
But you're staying here then. Whoever comes with me is the one that's going to hopefully get out alive. Alive, debatable. But you're going to get out. At least. As I said, you're going to get out. No, never played Half-Life before. Okay. Have you ever thought about playing Half-Life, Pookie? Or not really a game you're into? Actually, no, we're going to be down here. What's that? I need your eyeballs. Do you think having a retinal scan would hurt your eyes if it has to like scan over your eye? I guess as long as it's not too bright or anything like that, it's not too bad. It seems pretty cool. Yeah, it's a good game. Hey buddies. It does feel... It can be annoying at some parts. But I'm also doing it on hard. And I'm sure if you didn't do it on hard, it would also be a little bit... Not... I feel like it wouldn't be... Oh god damn it. And also the saving can be a little bit... So actually no. Yeah. Stop.
Though you doubt, afraid he never made it back.
You absolute mad lad. Okay, you're coming with me. Oops. You can come. You went through it with it moving, so I'll take you. Okay. Come on, dude. I am honestly surprised he went through it with the thing still moving. Okay. Scan your eyeballs. Eyeball on there.
Well, I'll let you out, but I'm warning you, it's hell out there. It's completely under military.
Oh, so you're staying in here. Okay. Yep, got it, sir. Got it. I'm staying in here anyway, so I'm all good. Now, quickly save. Yeah, I've learnt to save quite a lot in this game, or save often. Go, go, go. Ow, that took a lot of my health. I don't know what I could have really done though, to be fair. Oh no. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, here we are, surface tension. Another chapter. Give me a quick second. There we go. Oh no. Oh no. Ouchies. Okay, well, this I'm gonna quickly do that. There we go. And we'll get this one. I'm getting a little bit low on ammo and stuff. I was doing fine before they captured me. Yeah, then they captured me and things didn't go as well. Yeah, I can get him before he runs away. And if I can do the same on this side. I just have to use a few more bullets because I'm shooting their, like, elbows and stuff instead, but... yeah. There's a little bit more health. Let's reload. Okay. I guess I'll do the same to them. Okay. These barrels have loot. I don't know. I don't trust you. They're explosive. The orange ones, I would believe. But these were... you had me for a second there. And then my brain... and then my brain actually caught up. You almost had me. What would make you think that? What, you mean that they're explosive? I don't know. I think just the fire emblem on them. This sign says storage. That could mean storage. I mean, last time I believed you, you said to hit the orange box and it exploded. But then what if you're serious this time and it has stuff? That's why I didn't believe. I should just never believe again. A tear, see, has pieces of metal in it? Huh. I guess you're not wrong. But I mean, it doesn't have pieces of metal in it. Definitely has pieces of metal, but not, I don't know about in it. But I mean, I guess you technically weren't wrong. Oh no, not another one. I mean, the first one wasn't actually that bad. Go, go, go. Oh my god! Go, 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 go. Oh my god, there's one of those things! Suck it! What does this do? Oh, does this mean I can go in the water now? I'm gonna save game. Geronimo! Where did the turbine even go? Where even was the turbine? I don't know. Damn it, I gotta fight this thing, don't I? Okay, kill me thingy. Also, I forgot to add deaths. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did you get a weapon? I did get the weapon for this thing. I have 5. Let's go. Greg, I won't let you kill me. My god, I've taken a lot of damage from him. Ow, 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 ow. Where'd Greg go? Where is he? Where is he gone? I'm gonna go around here. Did I get him? I don't see him. I'm gonna assume that I got him. Now, do these close? They do, okay. Damn it. Okay. Let's go for it again. Are they shooting at him as well? I think they might have been shooting at him as well. Also, there's 2 more deaths. Onito, have you played this before? I have not played this before. So welcome to the stream, Cave Johnson. How are you doing? Oh! And... oh no. Okay. Get some air. Okay, there we go. I did worse than I did last time. I'll get him at some point. I have actually been on binge recently, watching people play the Half-Life series for the first time. Yeah, this is my first time, and I decided let's play it on hard because why not? You know, if I just don't take any more damage from now, I can be at 69. Okay. I think I missed again. Did I get him? I got him. Wow, that actually went surprisingly well. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let me see weapons. Okay, I will once I get out of here. Come on, come on, come on. Yes. Okay. I think I went in the wrong one. I don't know if there was a certain... Was there a certain one you meant to go in? I guess I'll find out. Guy recently played through... Oh god. Wait, what am I doing? What am I trying to do? I'll just let myself die real quick. Because I would like to have all my HP. Actually, no. Going back above it gives you your HP. I need to add 2 deaths. I don't actually know what I'm trying to do. Anyway, Guy recently played through all 9 games plus expansion in many days. Except Alex. I don't want spoilers until I play that. Yeah, that's fair. I'm usually the same. I try not to watch games until I've played them as well. But yeah. I'll quickly show you my weapons. We have the weird alien gun thing that I haven't used yet. The crossbow thingy, that one, and crowbar. I don't know what I'm actually trying to do. I am a bit confused because I was trying to do some of the turbines. Right, do I want to turn them on? Because I turned them off. Do I have a reason for maybe turning them back on? No, you only want them off. Oh, did you get that? That weapon can bring bigger things down. I see. So I should save it. My favourite to watch people play recently is Half-Life 2 Episode 1, after Half-Life 2, and before Episode 2, and after Half-Life, obviously, yeah. I'm planning to go through this one, and then I'm going to move on to the Blue Shift, and then the other one. I'm horrible with remembering the name of the other one, and then probably Half-Life, and then 2 at some point. I don't know if I'm going to do Half-Life 2 after those two, but I'm at least going to go through all of Half-Life 1, which is this one, the Blue Shift, and then, yeah, Opposing Forces. No, I mean, use it? I don't know if I want to use it, though. Half-Life has a bunch of expansions, yep, so yeah, it is. Whee! Well, so how do I get back onto there? How do I even get back up? I don't think I can get back up. I am so confused. What I'm meant to do with them. Ow. No, leave me alone. I think there's a co-op one. Oh yeah, I can't do anything there. I think there's a co-op 1, 2 for Half-Life. Guy played it using a mod. Any reason you're not playing Black Mesa Remake? No real reason. No, I just decided to play through Half-Life 1 because I already had it. And I bought it at one point and I hadn't played through it, so I figured I'd play through this. And I think there was also someone who said Black Mesa it's still good, but they said it also doesn't quite feel just like the original. So I figured it's worth playing through both as well, so I am so confused. Oops. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, there's no way for me to get back over. Why did you kill him? Very confused. Black Mesa is very flashy, I think. In what way do you mean, flashy? I feel like it shouldn't be this hard for me to figure out where I'm meant to go. Because there's obviously a reason I turned off the things. the thing and then killed that so I could open this up. But what do I get from actually going in here? Unless I need to open up all the way. Maybe? Like that? I don't know. That is my only guess. Alright, leave me alone. No, it just closes back up. Huh. Too many lights and effects, honestly, like putting too much lens flare in a movie. The visual glitch here, by the way, that black wall. I thought I tried going through it, but it didn't work. Let me give it one more try. I'm gonna just load my other save. Because I would like to have my 69 health. Because yeah, I thought I tried going through it, but it wouldn't let me. Let me try. Yeah, I thought I tried going through it, but I thought it didn't let me. Oh, do I need to crouch? Oh, it's because I didn't crouch. That's why. Scientist? Hello? Oh, no, it's back. Dodge and weave. Just dodge and weave. There, it is... Some games can be like that, where they try to be a bit too, I guess... Did they do it on purpose, or was it just, you think, they just didn't do good? I guess like a purposeful choice. Whether it be bad or good. Okay. What do we got down this way? Head crabs marching out of a cave. I'm gonna go the other way. You don't see me. You. Damn it, they've seen me. Can I follow you into your little home? Or where you were hiding? Thank you, thingy. Please don't attack me. I warned you. I said please don't attack me. You showed me the way, but... Storm drain hatch? Over this way. Jesus Christ, what are you guys doing in here? I didn't expect them to be there. Okay, yeah, I don't think there was anything in here, was there? Actually, there was stuff. I don't know what it was. Oh, I got some ammo for that new alien gun. Go, 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 go. I'm sorry. It had to be done. Oh, this isn't even where I'm meant to go. Down here. Okay. Real good. No, 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 no. Okay. Give myself a save. I've learned the hard way to give myself saves. Like I said, learned the hard way to give myself saves. It's not gonna leave me alone, is it? Also, what are we getting here? Anything? Yes. Freeze or something. Okay, let's open up the drain hatch. Oh, it's below me. Wait, is it? It's down. Save the game here. And go. Yes. Okay. Oh, I've opened it. Okay, now I guess I need to actually find it, don't I? So, save game. It's down. Down where is the question. Oh, you could also go through here. Grab it. Huh. There you go. Do I gotta go back? Maybe? No, no, no. Please, please, please. You're hitting me through there! God damn it. Go, 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 go. This is not fair. This is not fair! Hey, 69! Haha, funny number. Oh, I thought there was something suspicious. Also, it says there's mines. I don't like at all. Ow. What was that actually shot me? Or hit me? Did he use an explosive? Oh, it was a mine. I see. That makes a lot more sense. Okay, I'm gonna give myself a save here. How am I meant to know where a mine is? There probably is a way. I'm just kind of more focused on running away from the helicopter. Are you saying I should just take out the helicopter? I feel like it's too late now. Too late for me. I should have taken out the helicopter earlier. All hope is lost. Huh. Booms helps. Uh-huh. I mean, I do have some... 1, 2, 3, 4. I do have some stuff that I can probably use that might help. Is that where I'm trying to get to? Can I jump over it, I guess, is a good question that I now have. Save game. Because that looks like a hatch, if I do say so myself. I see that thing's booms did indeed help. Oh no. Yup. Let me in. Okay, we're down. We're going. I'm low on health, but we're going. This is the CSGO home menu music. Although you could have shot the hells with a new weapon. Yeah, I kind of realized that, but then I figured I'm already in that area. Would it have been worth it? Yeah, this is definitely the CSGO home page menu. Yo, how's the game? Hey, Red Knight, how are you going? The game's gone pretty good. I feel like we've made it a good way so far. Okay, 1 down. Just a few more to go. I can't even. could go, you know what? We'll go back to one of my other safes. See if I can get through here with more health. See, I made it down here with 79 HP. And I didn't actually even need to use my, my new weapon. So I can use my new weapon on the next time something big comes up. Which, that's the problem with me in games. I try to save my ammo for, like, my ammo for good things. For, you know, like, I guess, like, bosses or something like that. When I really don't need to / shouldn't. Like, when I played, what was it? The Evil Within. You can get, like, these things called, or you can get, like, scrap. Hoarding. I mean, basically, it's hoarding, but I plan to use it. And save it for something, you know, like a boss or something. But I never do, so I guess, yeah, it's hoarding. Because, like I was saying, with the Evil Within, there's, I'm down to 29 HP. God damn it. Well, there's a death. But yeah, with the Evil Within, you can get stuff called scrap. And then you can use scrap to get, or you can use your scrap to make, bullets, or, what are they called? Like darts for a crossbow. And in the end of the game, you can spend like I think 3 bolts. Yeah, bolts. And then you can spend I think like 3 scrap to make a bolt. And in the end, I think I had like 150, 180 scrap, something like that. Isn't it hoarding? I mean, it's one of the spellings. Either way. It was with the A. I'm stupid. No, you're good. I know what you mean. I didn't even know it was spelt wrong. My exam is starting in a minute. We're like, yeah, all good, Deads, and good luck with your exam. Come on, drop down. I don't know what I can do there to take less damage. Oh, that's a thing. Ah. Good to know. I don't know if I added death, so I'm just going to do it now. That thing's even worse. I should probably just get close to it with a thing. Yeah. I think I should just try and get close to it with a shotgun. Or closer to it with a shotgun. Okay, there we go. I'm actually going to put a save here. Because how I got there without taking any damage, I don't know. Would you dress as a Catboy, Mr. Carrot? I don't know. I mean, I've had the thought of, if I do a charity stream, I will put on a maid dress if I hit a certain thing. Because those are the 2 things that I've decided. If I ever do a charity stream, whether they're different or the same, one of the major things would be that, and the other would be dyeing my hair. When these streams will happen and how much the things will be, I don't know yet. But they are things I do have planned. Or... oh god. Damn it. Go, go, go. I gave myself a bad thing. A bad spot to save. I think it would slay hard. I guess I'll have to find out till I do that. Cause yeah, I mean, I know the gist of what I want to do for a charity stream. It's just I need to figure out when to do it, what games I would play during it, and other, I guess, milestone things as well. Okay, I'm actually gonna save here. I'm saving every now and then. I don't care. I don't care if I'm over saving. I'm just gonna save. Okay, he's dead. I'm gonna save every step of the way. Okay, now we ride down this. Maybe we don't ride down that. Or maybe we do. Okay, maybe I should take them down from up here first, though. That wasn't exactly the plan. Okay, 1, 2, 3 deaths. Are you dead? Okay, you're dead now. And where are you? I can't hit the other one yet. Wait, maybe. Ah! Yes! I can! There we go. Now. Oh, save. Yeah, because I mean, I guess the only difference between wearing a maid dress and a Catboy is literally just ears, I think. I think that would be the only difference. No, it's another helicopter. Oh, yes. Ah. Where are you? Damn it. Okay. Why no hit? Please. Okay, load game. Load. Let's add myself another death because I don't have to do it before. Catboy made. Yeah, I mean, I guess it wouldn't exactly be a Catboy, but I mean, same thing. You could also be like a goth cat. I guess that is another thing. But that means I'd have to do makeup. And you think I know how to do... You think I even know what is what? God damn it. There's another death. Because I know there was, when I was... Have you been here when Sage has been here? I know they were saying I should try, is it eyeliner, I think? They were trying to get me to do that. I'm just gonna give up on trying to hit that thing with this. Okay, so load game. Load. Actually, I could use the where is it? This thing. Helicopter. Actually, what do I even start with? How much HP? I start with 68 and I went down that much. Okay, wait for them to go past a little bit. would be pretty cool. Yeah. Whether I ever do these things, I don't know. I mean, the charity ones will, but the other things. Also, me and my friend have like way better builds than we did before in Vermintide. Okay, so what do you got? What have you got now? Not that I would really know that it's better. But I guess, well... No, I didn't mean to press load. God damn it. I meant to save. Okay, wait for it to go past. Go. Now I want to save. There we go. Okay, they didn't really hit me too much. We're all good. Oh god, I'm out. I'm out of ammo. I can't even take out a damn helicopter. There is a strategy of run. You know, it can be a pretty effective strategy. Unless you fall. Then it might not be as effective. Run, run, run. Go, 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 go. Damn it! I have a funny double axe berserk man. He's a little naked gremlin child. He's not really naked, but he only has pants on. We also have better weapons and stuff. We want to get the DLC, but it costs a lot. Yeah, that's the thing with some games is the DLCs tend to cost like almost as much as the game with some. But sometimes it's fair because it's almost like as long as the game or as good as the game. I think I'm just going to have to take the thing down. Actually, I just thought, what is the special for this one? Oh, maybe I should do that. So, load one back. Oh, there we go. That's so much easier. Okay. Save game. There we go. So, I was just doing it. I was just doing it wrong. I just had to have it charge up. There you go. It goes on sale a lot. There'll probably be some time we can do it. Yeah. Some games are like that where they have sales like where it's the game is basically always on sale, and then somewhere it's not on sale often. Damn. I like that wall. Really good at pushing me off. You right here. And maybe going around the edge would be a better idea. Going around the edge might not be a better idea. I just gotta jump better. There we go. I jumped better. Wait, where am I going now? Huh? Wait. Oh, it was over there maybe the way I was meant to go. I was meant to go that way. Maybe the door's now unlocked. I'm assuming. Maybe. Possibly. Yeah, because I can't go inside that thing at all. Is this door now open? No. Oh, do I maybe go around? Oh. This is the way I was... Well, all I get is... if I go on the other way is a battery, so... I don't really care too much about missing it. Oh, just let me up. There we go. Let's see. We got the game for $8 when it's on sale. So how much is the game normally then, Pookie? Oh. And then we can walk up here, I'm assuming. Yes. This is just so precarious. Okay, then we go up. I think that's how it's said. Not... Well... I don't know. I like the noise. I think 30 or 40. I don't really remember. I mean, that's a pretty good savings, if I do say so myself. That's like 70 something percent off. Like, yeah, about 70. Or 70 something. Okay, that way just goes up to a broken ladder. Does this one do the same? No. It opens into a water area. Okay. I like the music. It makes me feel like I'm actually trying to do something. Wow. Everyone came over. Okay, well this time I might just go over this. Go to the normal thing, go over this way. How many enemies are there? Oh my god. Ah! There's so many enemies. Which calls for... Boom boom time. Maybe, hopefully. Boom. Boom. That didn't quite go as expected. I think that's a good idea though. I think using the rocket launcher can only be good. I didn't mean to... Okay. So I want to set it up so we use this one and then we go to the rocket launcher. So if I press Q, it switches. Good, good. So I think we want to come out with this, do that, and then... Not quite the plan. Not quite the plan that I was going for. And now we switch to... Okay, now I can switch between the two. I like how the rocket launcher works in the Half-Life games. Yeah, I mean, it's good that you don't fire it instantly and it actually takes time to, I guess, shoot. Because it makes sense that it would actually work like that. You know what, we're going the other way. Actually, you know what? Plan. Plan didn't go as expected. Plan didn't go as expected. Hmm. They shouldn't know that I'm here, right? They shouldn't know that I'm here. How can they hit me when he's not even above the thing? Can I please get in this tank? Damn it. Okay. I gotta give it to him. That was a good throw. Okay. Ah! Ah! 1, 2, 3. I'll give myself like 3 deaths. I think I'm around 3 deaths that I'm up to. Okay, maybe we go along here. Be the sneak. Be the sneak. No one ever thought you could. Buggy, I believe in you. You got this, okay? Be the bug everyone knows you can be. I'm sure they're fine. I'm sure the bugs are fine. I'm sure they're doing great. They're quite smart. There's also a lot of them. I don't know how I'm going to deal with all of them. That obviously isn't how. How many deaths am I up to? 168. Not too bad this episode. Not too... Or stream, sorry. I can't even get back in the hole. I can jump out. Can't get back in. Because several grenades get thrown at me. I need to sort of... What am I meant to do? I stay out. There's... Like, I get shot by everyone and grenades get thrown at me. I poke out, shoot, come back in. Grenade gets thrown at me. Yeah, he just runs. Why can't I get down? Any ideas? I think my best plan was honestly the one with the bugs. But maybe not even just using the bugs. Maybe even just going over this way. Which actually, going up here, where does this take me? Oh, it takes me right here. It doesn't really help. Because there's still bombs everywhere. Huh. What to do? Questions. I think the tank's my best idea. My best bet. Or over near the tank at least. Probably my best bet. Now if I use this one, I can peek out just a little bit. Here we go. Okay. You shouldn't know I'm here. I'm not here. What are you shooting at? Okay, there's a lot of things there for me. I think that's my best bet. I think that's where I'm gonna have to go. I think that's the best plan I have. Going over that way. And I have plenty of bullets for this, so I might even use this more than once. Just to at least take some of them down. Somewhat silently. I mean, like, is it silent? If they don't see me, it is. Now I gotta deal with the rest by hand. Okay. Come on over there. Okay, they're running all the way over there. Okay, we got them. I think. Maybe. Hopefully. There's so much there that I could have used. Could have used my explosives a bit more. I still can. I still can use the rocket launcher a bit. I'm gonna give myself a save. I think we're good. Okay. Let's destroy these two. Battery. And nothing, but hey, I'll take it. Now let's give myself a save. And time to hydrate real quick. Okay, there we go. I think we're all good. Do I need to take you down? Let's figure this out. Because I feel like that thing's going to shoot at me. If I don't, or when I go to try and get out of here. So, let's do this and give it a good old whoop. God damn it. Whoop. I think I tickled it. I'm gonna quickly grab, oops, the ammo that I had, the extra ammo that I had here. There we go. Can I get in it? Can I get on it? See ya! Yeah, we got through. I feel like there's gonna be things here. Enemies. There is indeed gonna be enemies. There is indeed gonna be. It's not an enemy. It is an enemy, but. Okay, see you, buddy. Oh, they're down here. How did I live? I have many questions there. Also, I should be using my grenades a bit more as well. I've kind of been forgetting about them. I don't know if I think I'm took more damage by going into there. I think this was meant to be like an optional way to go if you wanted to. I don't think this was the proper way. Am I getting back out? Like that, there we go. Now, how are we opening this door? Oh, it just opens. I didn't realize it just opens. Something's going to shoot at me. I don't like bees. Okay. Idea. Grenade. Idea. Grenade. Apparently it's not a good idea. I guess I'm just gonna have to use this. Because he's right at the door. It worked. I'll take it. I'm not going that way. There's mines. I don't even have my normal pistol, do I? Did I really get taken down by the roof? Yeah. Ain't looking too great for me. They're looking pretty grim. Can I get in? No, they're not gonna let me in through there. Of course not through there. And, well, yeah. What just hurt me? Huh? Okay, well, I'll do 2 deaths real quick. Let me back in. Let me back in, please. Yeah. I didn't mean to grab this, put this in my hand. Huh. Okay. I think same plane as before. Pew! Then we switch. We go pew! Okay, dead. Damn it. Okay. Give this a try. Okay, come on, load it in. Damn it. Okay, let me in. That's a little bit more health at least. I'm actually gonna give myself a save because this is, I think this is the most HP I've had coming in now. Now, yeah. Try hitting me on the head now. Also, goddamn it, how am I gonna? Okay. I don't know what I expected. I'm gonna be honest. Where did I even get hit from, though? Oh, there was a thing there. That's what hit me. Yeah, I was too focused about things trying to fall down like that.
Somebody, please help me. I'm dying out here.
Sir,
Please help me.
how do you want me to help you, sir? I'll do it. I'll do it, sir. For you. I missed. He was all a ploy. He was a trap. They set him out there. They left him there. So I would go and try and help him and then they'd shoot me down.
Help me. Somebody, please help me. I'm dying out here. Please help me.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hit you, sir. I can't help you. I'm sorry. What is going? Why can't I open that thing? What am I meant to do? Very confuzzled. What?
Somebody, please help me. I'm dying out here. Please.
I'm gonna give myself a save point right here. Which I'll have to end quite soon, actually. But, what can we do? A quick get into here. And... Yep. Ow. Okay, I've at least got a little bit here. What did I get shot by there? Huh? There's gotta be another one. Up there or... Oh, there's a thing up there. I see. Okay, go back this way. Let's see what happens if I go the other way. Or around the other way. Is that what it wants me to try and do? I think it is. I think it does want me to go try and go around that way. But, you know, I have to go all the way around. Damn. Trying to make me go through an obstacle course. Ow. Oh. Meant to throw up more than that. That. Okay, 2 more deaths. Go. 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 I don't know what the game wants me to do. Can I take out these things? Look, this one I can see. This one, it's right there. Getting to you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. Coming for you, gun. You can't escape me. I'm inching closer. You'll never get away. We'll take you down. Peekaboo. Who's up here? Who's up here? Oh, is it? No, it's not good. It's not good at all. You just gotta go fast enough, I guess. What if we... Dodge and wave. Dodge. That makes it harder. Okay. Maybe that doesn't make it harder. Now that, hey, I'm gonna try and say it. Dartro? I hope I said that right. I think that's right. Dark Crow. That would make a lot more sense. Nade it right now? Yeah. Let's give it a try. It worked! Wahoo! Can I do it with the other one though? Okay, probably should have tried that. Anyway. Actually, we'll try the shotgun. You can nade the mines now. Oh, I don't have any more grenades is the problem. Huh. Well, happy shooting. Thank you. Huh. Thing is, I was doing great before the... Actually, I can use the satchels. Probably should have moved back. Yeah, I was doing fine on Emma before I was kidnapped, but now. Okay. There we go. Now, how am I going to deal with the one up there? Don't know if that's going to work. Yeah, we can use this one. But, boom. There we go. Now, there's not really any on the corner here. How am I getting the thing up there? Is that one I don't think I can reach with a satchel. I'll quickly throw a satchel over there though. Oh. Did it. I'm safe. How did you end up in a situation where you had one nade? I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. Thing is, I haven't even been using the nades that much. Actually, no, I used the nades on the thing there before. For the bombs on the walls, because you couldn't reach them from where I was. Is this your first playthrough of Half-Life? It is. And I decided to do it on hard because... What's the... Are you telling me what... Because what's the point? Okay. Why did I think going on that would be a good idea? Go hard or go home? Exactly. So, if this door doesn't open, and I can't climb that, then you explode it, so you can. Should go on that. Just be fast. Your HP is low. I mean, it works. I just If you just get rid of the things that create the electricity, and something's shooting at me. I'm guessing you've played through Half-Life before Dark Crow? Yeah, I don't know where I was being shot from. Hey Doc, how's it going?
You're heading to the Lambda complex, aren't you? I was heading there myself until I wound up here. Well, simply
What were you saying?
I'm just going to wait out the catastrophe in here. If you intend to go on, proceed with extreme caution.
All I heard was something, I'm gonna stay here, proceed with extreme caution. Which that's probably why he said that. Because yeah, I was using the nades on these things. Which, what am I meant to do to get rid of? Oh, I can come out here, go into the corner over here and do it. Or shoot it, actually. Actually, I might push this door open. Okay, I don't think there's anything along the wall. We're all good. It doesn't look like there's anything there. Okay, so let's. What? Just jump over? I mean, I could jump over, but I feel like I'm gonna mess it up if I jump over. Okay, let me put a save and then we'll do it. This chapter won't let you explode those. Yeah. Oh, you have to jump over them. Okay. They're pretty high. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna need this one then. A physical object. Is this one gonna... Good. Wait, what's around this? Okay, it just goes into the same room. Okay, we're all good then. Damn, head crab's here as well. What happens if a head crab explodes it? Then what? Can't go on that thing. I don't really have to jump over them is the thing, because I know I'm going to do something. Point is navigating the mine maze to get the teleporter. I mean, elevator. I see. Okay, well I'm going to quickly save. I think I should be good in here for a little bit. I don't try myself jumping like over that. If any of them explode, you're dead. Noted. Good to know. Actually, I can't move it, can I? No. What about this one? Can I move this one? No, you can't move them. This one, I might as well grab something. Yeah, we'll go with that. Okay, this one I can move. Probably use to block that one. Push it. Okay, can't push them past them. Can use it to jump on though. Actually, no, this one I can't. I don't think I can jump on. Too high, aren't they? They are. Yep, I didn't think I could jump over that. Actually, idea. My idea won't really work. Come on. Damn it. This entire place is like an armory of sorts. Explosives and ammo all over the place. That's why you gotta be careful. You can jump on the mines. Oh, I can jump on them. Maybe not on that one. Maybe because it's on a circle. Maybe it's not the best idea. I love how the first one I try is one of the only ones you can't jump on. Yeah, I'm gonna get on that one. This one feels quite... Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. I quickly add a few deaths as well. Can I jump on it from this side? Okay. Okay. Over. Why are you smoking? Why is your body smoking, sir? Okay, I'll let him be, I guess. Limbo is what I am good at. He dead? Yeah, he's dead, but question is why? Okay. I'm gonna have to go all the way back down. Go through. Okay, I don't have to go through anything. I just have to destroy that. I'll destroy this one as well. I saw that coming. I mean, I didn't know there was a box on there. Okay, so that one you can't destroy. This one you can. I almost forget about that one. The last... I don't know how many times. Oop. Okay. Now, what is the point in me doing this? Is it so I can... Don't you dare come at me. Oh. Not quite what I was expecting, but... Take it. That has infinite ammo. Heli. I thought it said it had 8 ammo. Yeah, it says it only has 8. I don't... It regens? It does. On a test. Oh. It sounds very, very good to have. It has living beings. You're shooting its eggs. Oh, I thought I was shooting like bees. They usually sound like bees or something like bees, you know. Also, 10 minutes and it'll probably end. Die! 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 Seems like it does a decent amount of damage as well. I probably should have backed up more. Die! What's that? Ammo that I didn't pick up. Die! Also, do they bounce off the walls to hit them? Yeah, they do targeting. I thought they did. You can bounce it off walls? Yeah. He's dead. He was dead. I don't know about anymore. And thank you for the follow, Dark Crow. Get him, dude. Look out. He actually dodged it. Oh my god. It's not often they actually dodge. Hello? Anybody home? Hello? You're funny? Thank you. I appreciate... appreciate the compliment, and I'm glad that you enjoy the stream. I don't know how I feel about that noise. Oh, great, another one of those things. You know what? Mono on mono! Shooty bees versus shooty bees! Well, someone helped me. Actually, can I press shoot? No, I want this one. And then I want to go to this one. Okay, well, can't get up there. I don't think I need to. Can't get in there. It was pretty late to the stream, I guess. Yeah, a little. I mean, I usually started about like. Please. I usually started about 4, and it's about 7:20ish now. Unintentionally, yes, someone might have helped you. Yeah, whether they meant to or not, I don't know. Huh, normally that thing can't move far. I guess I was running, I was sort of running straight at it. Now I'm gonna do the thing again. Get up here. Hide. So it was a jet. Okay. Oh. No, I want to do this. And then this. And now I can switch between the two. Yeah. Let's destroy a few of these. See what I can get. Now, I think the question is how I'm going to get over to that thing. Also, I don't know how much health I was up before. Hey, dude. Damn it. Okay, I might switch to one of the other weapons real quick. Just for while I'm going up to them. Huh. Wait, oh, one of those things are up there. I think you want to go the opposite way, because you're pretty low on shit, and on shit that can kill that tank. I mean, there is no other way, is the thing. I don't think I can go through there. Okay. Well, if that means there's only one enemy now, I'm going to quickly save game. Save. When you just come out of the underway, go to the tank route before the little ship drops the aliens from the sky. The underway, go. What do you mean by the tank route? Do you mean towards? Ow. You mean this way? You won't shoot me. Okay, not that way either. Ah! Eh. Oh, hey, buddy. Where is everybody else? I don't think anyone's in here. Yeah, we're all good. Okay. You get this way. Hello, the last auto save. That works, I guess. Yeah. I find my way through these games. It's fine. Closing in on two. Am I? I mean, like I said, I don't really look at my deaths that often. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that I'm closing on 200. I mean, before the stream, I was up to like, God, like 100 and something. Yeah, we'll do that one and that one. Yeah. Anyone in here? We're good. Thank you, sir. Don't mind this thing on my arm. It's all good. Oh. Was there nothing actually worth coming in here for? Oh. You're carrying deaths? I am, yeah. I knew I'd have a lot of deaths, so I figured might as well. Go! How am I gonna... I have my normal gun back. Yeah, that's not gonna work. Nope. Nope. And... Oh. Okay, how am I getting this down? That is definitely the way out. Oh, am I meant to be able to do the thing where you go... Oh. No. Hmm. There is... That's an armory. Okay. In we go. Where can I go from there? Or from here? Oh, he opened it up for me. Thank you, sir! Okay. He's giving me a bit of everything. Oh, whatever I was reading chat on just went flat. Give me a quick second. Well, actually, I might leave it here because I am already like 30 minutes over time. That should be better. No, that was the old thing. Yeah, I think I might leave it here because this seems like a good place to leave it. But yeah, I guess. Oh, I can even turn the lights on. Just come back in your ending. Oh, so I'm basically at the end then. I mean, if I'm basically up at the end, I might as well finish. So, first tip. So I guess next stream I might start Blue Shift, which you know, basically at the end. Definitely not. So I'm nearing the end then. So I guess I can leave it here. Which, can I leave this up here and... Will that bring it down? I didn't even throw it right, but no. That's not how you get it. And I'm not nearing the end. Oh, you meant just come back in... Now I know what you mean. Never mind. I read it the dumb. I read it wrong. Yeah, so I guess next stream... It might be tomorrow. Let me check my shift real quick. Because if I end early or finish early... Yeah, I'll be able to stream tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, tomorrow will be another stream day. Because I finish work at a decent time. So I'll be able to come home and do everything. Through the window on the boxes, and then onto the ladder. Okay, I'll quickly do that. Actually, no. I'll end it while I'm in this room, because at least I know I'm safe in this room. But I'll remember that for tomorrow. There's stuff going on around. But yeah. I hope you did enjoy the stream, whether you're here from the start, halfway through, or just joined. And if you did enjoy the stream, please do think about following. And yeah, I hope everyone has a good night, morning, afternoon, day, or whatever time it is for you. I think that's all four of the times it can be. Or at least I've started accepting that that's all four. If there's the fifth, too bad. But yeah, I hope to see you in the next stream. See ya.